Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2020 career mode for episode number 13, the very first round of our Formula 1 Championship starting in Australia. So we are choosing Danny Kvyat as our Alpha Tauri teammate. We won the Formula 2 Championship. We beat Nobuharu Matsushita to this very race seat that we are sitting in right now. Email from Franz Tost, introduction to the team. We won't worry too much about that. We've got other things to worry about as we get through the admin at the start of the episode. I'm very excited for this season and what we can do with this team. You can see Spec 2 on 3 of the 4 areas of development. The power unit lacking a little bit in facilities, but hopefully we'll be able to upgrade that at some point. I'm not really sure, honestly, how to upgrade these when you're not driving for your own team, but I guess either the upgrades will come in time or maybe we'll just have to live with what we have, but I'm not sure. I have no idea how it works, but anyway, we will see in due course, I assume. But anyway, moving on, we have some resource points to spend we have some resource points to spend right out the gate, so we're going to buy a gearbox upgrade or a gearbox wear upgrade to reduce the wear on that. Just get it over and done with early in the season and sort of get the maximum benefit out of it. So hopefully we won't have any penalties for that. We'll also go for a straight up power upgrade as well, and we've also started the game with a bit of money. So let's spend some of that as well.
Here's where you can buy perks to become a better driver both on and off the track. Any fee you negotiate over your base salary in the contract negotiation is cash you can spend on these perks.
So we have enough money to spend on one of these, and I'm going to go with the development feedback and generate 10% extra resource points, and that will really help us out in just getting those few extra upgrades here and there. That could make a big difference in the long run. So yeah, more resource points for us. Speaking of extra upgrades, we are also going to apply a rear downforce upgrade. That'll take quite a while, being a major upgrade. It'll come in for round 3 in Vietnam. So yeah, that one will be a long time coming, but the engine power and gearbox wear should come in for the Australian Grand Prix, I hope anyway, as we will skip straight past the car review. Obviously you already saw that at the start of the video. I am very excited to see what we can achieve with AlphaTauri this season. The car looks really cool. I wasn't actually too keen on it when they first revealed the livery, but it's really grown on me since then. I really do like it now. But anyway, I still miss slightly the bright blue Toro Rossos, but continuing on, the thankfully all of our upgrades do go onto the car.
Our new parts have been completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Awesome stuff, Carl. So we are just about ready to go to the weekend. Our pace should be around the midfield according to Franz Tost. I tend to agree with that. On straight out pace, it will be a battle between myself and Kvyat for 13th position, with strategy and mechanical failures and all that involved. Hopefully we'll be able to get some points in this first weekend. It's not out of the realms of possibility, so let's get into it.
Great, you're done with the technician's briefing. Look, I know we've got a lot to get through in FP1, but Will Buxton's been pushing for a quick interview before you head out on track. Don't worry too much, he's a good lad. He's just over there. These media appearances are important for a few reasons. They'll help build your profile and your brand. Plus, your team will get a real boost to their motivation if they hear you praising them. Will, as promised, sorry to keep you waiting.
Oh, mate, not a problem at all, not a problem.
Look, we've got to be out on track in about 5 minutes for FP1, so we can only spare you a couple of minutes max. Is that going to be enough time?
More than enough, we're already set up. Cool, let's go. We're used to seeing rookies in Formula 1 every year, but this season there's a youngster that's arrived with perhaps a little more interest in them than usual. And that's because while they've been successful at every level of their career, from karts all the way through to Formula 2, they've somehow managed to stay pretty much under the radar. They don't have that luxury anymore, though. They're in Formula One. Millions of people around the world watching their every move, both on and off the racetrack. So let's take some time to get to know them a little bit better.
So tell us a little about yourself. What's the thing you're most excited about being here in Formula One?
I just have to say I'm looking forward to the competition of it. Obviously in Formula One you've got 20 of the best drivers in the world, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how I can compete against some of these great drivers, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to just getting in amongst it really, and hopefully we can have a good season and get some good results.
After your successful junior career, you must have had a lot of interest. What drew you to sign for your current team?
Well, at the start of the Formula 2 season last year, I signed up for the Red Bull Junior team alongside Matsushita. Ironically, we ended up fighting for the title towards the end of the season, so it really came about through that, and yeah, at the start of the final race we were told that whoever came away with the title would come away also with a drive at AlphaTauri, so that's really how the deal came together for me, and I'm very, very happy that we can straight away jump into competitive car.
What would you say is going to be the biggest challenge for you this season?
Honestly, at this point I'm not entirely sure. I think after the first race I'll have a better idea of where we stand, but I think as far as the biggest challenge goes, it's a big step from Formula 2 up to Formula 1, so just yeah, getting up to speed with these much faster cars, higher G-forces, much stronger brakes as well. It'll be a challenge, but I'm up for it.
Really appreciate your time, but I know you're very keen to get on. Best of luck out there.
This first race of the season is always quite difficult for us trackside, and for those back at the factory as well, as it's the first time the car has run since winter testing. The more consistent mileage you can get in these sessions, the happier we'll be.
Alright, loaded up on pizza, I'm ready to do the rest of this video. So, here we are for practice 1 for our very first round in Formula 1. So, we have the same usual practice programs to get through, so we should just get cracking and get on with the job at hand and see how, most importantly, this AlphaTauri car drives, because it is not a car or not a team I've ever driven for in any F1 game in the past, so it will be interesting to see.
Don't push the car just yet. Track is still green. Try and take it easy for the first couple of laps.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes. In fact, I've never driven a Honda-powered car in a Formula 1 game for a career mode, even before I started on YouTube. So, anyway, here we go, coming out of pit lane for the very first time in AlphaTauri, and ready, and away we go. Alright, cool. Now we've driven a Honda-powered car. Not very well. There's a lot of understeer in this car. That was my immediate reaction to driving this. Compared to the My Team car, this almost feels like leaning more towards the Formula 2 cars that I've been driving. So it obviously isn't quite understeering to that level, but yeah, there is a lot of understeer. It took a while to get used to it, but once I did, I actually did quite enjoy driving this car, which is a good thing, because I'm stuck in this thing for at least the first half of the season now. So anyway, moving on from that, we might as well just get straight into qualifying. So here we go for qualifying for the very first time here at the Albert Park circuit in Melbourne in the AlphaTauri car. So let's hope that we should at least be able to get through into Q2. Q3 is probably a bit of a tall order, but we'll see what we can do. A little bit of a mistake on the entry to turn 3, not too bad though, not going to cost us a terrible amount of time. And if we can string the rest of the lap together, it should be pretty easy to get into Q2 with the pace that we have. There's a big deficit to Haas, Alfa Romeo and Williams behind us in the R&D chart, so we'll see where that lap puts us. It's in P4 for the time being. We'll drop down the list as other people set their times as we say g'day to the Williams car there. But he'll go on and do his lap. We actually had a look at Danny Kvyat's lap as well, and in particular these last few corners that I was finding very awkward, that final right-hander. But anyway, Danny Kvyat, when he crosses the line, manages to go to P12, so he is safely through as well for the time being. And indeed, when we go to the end of the session, we both managed to go through into Q2, P9 and P12. Not bad at all. I think in this session, Grosjean, the 2 Alfa Romeos and the 2 Williams cars were knocked out. So that is the end of qualifying for them. But qualifying continues for us. In fact, the car in front of us was Alex Albon, which is a little bit crazy in itself. Q2, though, we didn't improve on our time. We made a few mistakes. So that was really it for qualifying. We out-qualified Kvyat, 13th and 14th for us. Pretty much where we expect on our car's pace. Magnussen qualifies last of Q2.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to Melbourne for the opening race of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to the Australian Grand Prix. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. Its combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners make it a tricky track when it comes to overtakes. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Here we are then, Formula One in 2020. The fight for the World Championship all starts here today. Mercedes on the hunt for a 7th consecutive title. They'll have Ferrari and Red Bull to contend with along the way. Williams struggled to find their feet last year. They'll be hoping for a stronger start this time around. And what I wonder of the Renault-powered cars. Will they be able to step forward, maybe even onto the podium on a regular basis? Plenty to discuss then with Anthony Davidson. He's out of hibernation too, and alongside me in the commentary box once again.
It's good to be back, Crofty. Let's hope for some good racing today. We can't know at this point how competitive these teams are relative to each other, but hopefully nobody is able to run and hide. We want to see these drivers pushing to the limit all the way to the checkered flag.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Albon, Sebastian Vettel and Leclerc, Sainz, Ricciardo, Norris and Sergio Perez, Ocon, Stroll, the scientist and Kvyat, Magnussen, Grosjean, Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi, Latifi and George Russell ends our grid lineup. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
Honestly, I just think I'm going to try and get to the end of this one, but as you can see, later in, well, actually not that late in the race, that's around the half-hour mark, and I think that includes the formation lap in that timeline. It will start raining, heavy rain as well, so we potentially need the blue walls, but we'll see as we have a little look at strategy. But in the end, it doesn't really make a big difference because the first stint is not going to be that long, probably around about 20 minutes if that. So the soft tyres will easily last that amount of time, so there's not really any reason to start on any other compounds. But it's always interesting to see what the pace looks to be like on the other compounds. But as you can see on the race director, every single car starting on the soft tyres, so nothing really to worry about there. It is all equal as we now go to the 5 red lights. And the lights are out and we are underway for the Australian Grand Prix in 2020. It's a bad start by both the Racing Points. A pretty good start for us. We're going to try and challenge Lance Stroll into the first corner as Ocon, Perez and Stroll go 3 wide into turn 1. Stroll has to back out. Perez is going to get through. Kvyat is on our right hand side. He's had a good run through the first 2 corners and he's going to cover that position off. We're going to try and go back down the inside, so close to making contact there with our teammate, and in the end he's going to be able to put the power down around the outside. A little bit of contact made between us through turn 3, but no damage done. We can continue on our quest for more positions in this race as Kvyat goes to the outside of Lance Stroll into this next right-hander. He's not going to get the move done there as he's pushed out into the grass by the Canadian, and he holds on to the position. We couldn't really take advantage of that. We were slowed up so much as we had to take a bit of avoiding action. We were lucky actually not to get overtaken by one of the Hasses behind, but for now it has been an okay start. We've lost one position to our teammate, but that's not a big deal, as we will hopefully be able to re-overtake him at some point.
Let's focus now for the rest of the race.
Later in the race, the main thing is we've gotten through the opening phase cleanly as we run slightly wide through the final sector, as these last few corners are still pretty difficult to string together. You can see the understeer that I was talking about in this car, as we're trying to rush into these corners a lot faster than what this car can really handle, and we have to be a little bit careful with not making mistakes, because Magnussen is right behind us. But anyway, as we continue on, the battling up ahead continues with Ocon and Stroll battling side by side through the final sector. Kvyat trying to get involved in this one, but it looks like we are just going to have to be patient until these two sort it out. Once again, it seems like the Racing Points should have the pace at this point, and it does indeed seem that Stroll has that position.
Will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
As now Kvyat is battling away with Esteban Ocon through the first few corners. He's still got the nose in on the inside,
Behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
and he may just be able to get the move done on the inside of turn 3. Side by side they go through the first sector. Kvyat now around the outside of Esteban Ocon, and he's going to try and keep the nose in on the inside of this near flat out right-hander, but Ocon is able to sweep around on the outside. Now here comes Magnussen as we're held up behind that battle. Magnussen down the inside, but he bounces off the curb, runs himself a little bit wide. We get the switch back on the Dane and maintain that position, but a hectic few moments there as we're all battling away. Magnussen just sends it into that corner, but he was never going to make it with any kind of exit speed. So yeah, a bit of a swing and a miss for him, but anyway, we refocus back in our own race as we blow up the middle sector chicane. But anyway, continuing on, we easily actually make it to the rain period in this race. The soft tyres aren't really dying off yet, and the rain is already falling, so I'm glad we didn't take any risks starting on the mediums. That would have just cost us time for no real reason. So now that the rain is falling, it will be a very tricky phase of the race, as we're already struggling for traction on the slick tyres, and honestly the switch to inters.
Sure that these tyres are the right ones. It might be time to come in and change. A new strategy is available on the MFD.
And there you go, the switch to inters is right now. I was about to say it can't come soon enough, as we have a lot of understeer heading into the pit lane. But unfortunately we're going to have to double stack behind Kvyat, so that is going to cost us a couple of seconds in the pit lane. Hopefully that won't cost us too much time. I think we just ran over one of our pit crew there.
It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car.
Oh, now Daniel Ricciardo is out of the race. That is a mechanical failure along the straight. He's just going to pull up and park it out of the way. So unfortunate end to
speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Unfortunate end to the race for the home favourite here in Australia. So I guess it's now up to us to fly the flag. Let's hope we can bring home some points for the home fans that are standing in the rain at the moment. As now Romain Grosjean retires from the race. That was also a mechanical failure, but I didn't catch it at the time. But we move on again. And it is now time. You can see how slow we have to drive.
Daniel is going in for a stop.
We have to switch to the full wet tyres. Yeah, the track is just flooding at the moment. So the blue wall tyres are coming out. Everyone is coming into the pits to make that switch. Again, we have to double stack behind Kvyat. And yeah, we are losing quite a lot of time in these double stacks. And I think we actually could have probably pit.
Stay clear receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
No, we could have pit a little bit earlier on this one. I think Ocon pit a lap earlier than us, but we did not do that. We had to double stack behind our teammates, lost a few seconds there, lost a bit of time on a very slow in-lap, it has to be said. But other than that, I was actually really enjoying this stint on the wet weather tyres, and was making good time against Esteban Ocon on the wet tyres as well. So I was really enjoying the rain at this point in the race, as George Russell not enjoying the race. He is retiring with a mechanical failure, so a lot of reliability issues showing themselves in this opening round of the season, as you may expect. But as we continue on further into the race,
Daniil is coming in for his stop. Okay, we'll fit inters on your next stop.
it's time to come in for the intermediate tyres. The track has dried up enough for those to be the ideal set. So another long pit stop for us as we double stack behind Fiat.
Go now.
And away we go once again for the rest of this race. It will probably dry up towards the end, so this won't be our last stop. So it will be...
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
No, Jeff, I just said it won't be. But whatever. But continuing on, we have made good time in these stints, and so has Fiat. He's actually on paper now ahead of Sergio Perez. As we continue on, you can see as Perez makes his stop, Fiat is ahead of him. But we have caught up now to Esteban Ocon, so we are right in the fight with the Renault for what will be 12th position. So we will try our best to make a move on him, but in these conditions it is very, very difficult, and as you can see, we had a little go there, didn't really work out for us, and we are also having to manage some blue flags with the Mercedes cars catching up to us, so we'll have to let Lewis Hamilton go by, and he could do his thing. Hopefully we may be able to use that to our advantage if he can catch Ocon at an awkward time, but that doesn't really play out in that way.
The pit box is currently full. Stay out on track. Stay out on track.
So we're stuck to being behind Ocon for the rest of that stint, and we come in for the dry tyres now. So it has been a pretty crazy race for the pit crew. We've kept them very busy. We're going to lose a bit more time again as we're stuck behind Fiat.
Exit now.
And it's not going well for us, as Vettel is now in front of us. So Vettel has had a pretty awful race to be right in front of us now. So that's a disaster for Ferrari. They've got a car right now not scoring points. So that is huge. I did not expect in our first race to be right behind a Ferrari. As out of pit lane comes Sergio Perez. He's gone a lap longer. We make the move around the outside in turn 1, and we get ahead of Sergio Perez in the racing point, and that moves us up into 12th. So that is a fantastic bit of luck for us. Perez holding it out on the intermediates a lap too long, and we've made that move.
Sat in P12, Vettel ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 2.9 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Perez behind, they're on fresh softs. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 11 laps to go. The gap to the car ahead is 3.0 seconds.
Vettel with a lot of work to do in this race if he wants to score any decent amount of points. He is currently in 11th position. Ocon is the gatekeeper of the points for the time being as we get lapped by Max Verstappen. So, what can we do in this race? Can we catch up to Esteban Ocon? No, but we can catch up to Lando Norris. He's been struggling in this race. He may have some issue with his car in this opening race. It seems like a common theme. So we'll see if we can make a move on him. Heading towards the fast chicane, we're not quite going to get close enough, and Norris will hold on for the time being. So we'll just need to sit and wait for another chance as we head towards turn 3. We go for the move down the inside of Norris, but he just chops us off at the apex. We just managed to get us stopped, as I sort of saw that coming, and we managed to not quite make contact with Lando, but that was very, very close. But that appears to not be an overtaking opportunity,
Create a gap and let the car behind through.
as we get lapped by Valtteri Bottas down the inside he goes. Norris though has compromised his own line to let Bottas pass, and we've got Norris at the same time, so a really nice bit of opportunistic driving there to get the move done on Norris, as he was a little bit distracted by the blue flags, and we've made our way up into 11th position, so any issues for the top 10 and we will be in the points. Meanwhile, Fiat is up in 8th position, I think, so he's done a great job in this opening race, but for us, unfortunately, there was not really anything we could do to catch the cars ahead. The rest of the race was mainly just focusing on holding back Lando Norris, who never slowed down in the final few laps, so if he had some kind of issue, it obviously must have resolved itself. But that's no matter to us as we come around the final corner, because we are going to cross the line for 11th position in our very first race.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Not bad at all. I will take that. Lance Stroll gets the driver of the day.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So it's Lewis Hamilton who takes home the race win. Max Verstappen manages to split the Mercs on the podium as Valtteri Bottas finishes in third.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Lance Stroll certainly put in an impressive performance today. No doubt his team and fans are extremely proud.
Let's move on to the Constructors. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So that brings the Australian Grand Prix to a close. So P11 for us, that is very, very decent. I am super happy with that result. Great start to the season for Lewis Hamilton to look at this field, at the fight at the front of the field. But yeah, back to focusing on ours. Was there more we could have done in that race? Well, if we managed to stay ahead of Fiat, there would have been a lot we could have done. I think we could have, well, finished where he did in, I think, 8th position. He did a great job today, making the most of the clear air that he had, as we had to double stack in the pit lane at every single stop. So in total, that probably cost us, I don't know, a few seconds each time, and it kind of kept us away from Esteban Ocon. Otherwise, I think we could have made the move on him. Whether we could have held it in the dry conditions is another story. That Renault came alive at the end of the race. He was doing a great job to hold off Sebastian Vettel. So, yeah, I don't know if we would have had the pace enough to hold him off. But if we did get ahead, but we did manage to make the move on Lando when that opportunity presented itself. So yeah, I think we did a good enough job today, and as I think the pace really came alive in the wet conditions, so that definitely helped our race. But even so, I think if it was a fully dry race, it probably wouldn't have changed our result too much. We wouldn't have had the pace to compete with the likes of Ocon. Anyway, the rain definitely helped us, but yeah, it overall I think didn't make a huge bearing on the results. But yeah, it was very frustrating to have to double stack as we look at the replay. Sending it on Lando Norris didn't quite pull it off on that occasion. But anyway, here is the moment where we got the move done on Lando. This was rather satisfying actually, as he was a little confused about what Bottas and what myself were doing at that point. And we managed to take the advantage there and come across the line for what was 11th position.
Amazing performance out there. sure you're pretty happy with that. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yeah, it was everything I could have wanted for the first race, and we managed to stay out of trouble and bring home a good result.
How do you feel the weather affected the outcome today?
I think it certainly mixed things up a little bit, but at the end of the day, we managed to keep it clean.
Why do you think you weren't as quick as your teammate today?
Well, it's my very first race. I think there's still a lot of learning to do, and in the coming races, we'll certainly do that.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
Yeah, there are a few bumps with other cars, but I think that happens from time to time. There's nothing you can do about it. It is just that's just racing. Bumps happen. It's just part of the sport, really. It's what we're here for and what we enjoy.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Thanks, Claire. Alright, so that brings the Grand Prix weekend to a close. We boost our driver acclaim up halfway through level 3 at the moment. So what will we do? We've got a bunch of resource points to spend after that round, so we'll have some upgrading to do on the R&D side of things. So we'll just get cracking into that, I suppose. So as for upgrades, we are going to buy a major weight reduction upgrade on the chassis side of things. Hopefully we can mitigate some of that understeer that we were feeling in around the Melbourne circuit. And we're also going to go for an ice durability upgrade to hopefully avoid those pesky penalties later in the season. But other than that, not too much else to say. So I will say thank you very much for watching to the end, and I will see you next time for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Thank you, and goodbye.
What's the thing you're most excited about being here in Formula 1?
I'm just really looking forward to the competition of it. As is commonly said, these are meant to be the 20th best drivers.
Are you okay? That was a nasty hit. Turn the engine off and wait for the marshals.